Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel True Stories. A quick reminder of what my channel is all about. Well, I'll be telling true stories while doing some artwork like sketching or painting or even Photoshop. So I hope you guys will enjoy. And I would also like to remind you that most of the stories which I'll be telling are translated from the YouTube channel of Mr. Abu Talal Hamrani from Kuwait, and his YouTube channel is given below in the description box. Our story today took place in Iraq, specifically in Baghdad, and I would like to describe today's real-life event as a mysterious crime story. Our character in the beginning was a school principal named Siham. She was married and had children. Her husband, Hamid, worked as an officer or an official in food supply agency or department, or as we say, ration department. Ration department is the department which is responsible for the distribution of food in specific quantity. Hamid was kind and polite by nature, a respectable man and a good husband. His only issue was that he was suffering because there were tensions between his wife and his mother. His wife, she couldn't bear the existence of his mother in the house, and he, on the other hand, was unable to leave his mother all alone and get a separate house. So he tried to work out and negotiate in every way he could between his mother and his wife. His wife, who was, as I said, a principal who was to see the generation to succeed. He was trying his best not to ruin his marriage by managing and working out problems between them, explaining his wife to understand the situation, as she was insisting on leaving the house or getting a separate house. But as they say, your parent didn't leave you when you were young, so don't leave them when they're old. Later, as the days passed by and his life went on, there was a meeting between the school principals of both the girls and the boys, and it took place in the school district. The objective of the meeting was that the heads would gather and plan their goals and achievements, giving directions to follow up for the new school year. One of the principals present at the meeting was Jassim. Now Jassim, when he saw Siham, he immediately set his eyes on her and tried to know her more. So as soon as the meeting finished and ended, he followed her, introducing himself as the school principal of one of the schools, and wanted to know her more. This was the first time they met, and they exchanged numbers as school principals, and that could be a normal thing in this state of affair. And it could be for work discussions or other social related matters. Now again, as they were school principals, Jassim started calling Siham almost every now and then. It would be for some reason or the other, until Siham got the idea or realized that this person would like and admire her. Here she started sharing her personal matters with Jassim. She started sharing that where her husband's job place was, and she also included in her conversation that how disturbed. Of course, this went by, it didn't happen immediately. She didn't share all her informations immediately. She also said how much she hated him. This man here, after listening to all of this, all the story, the whole story, he took advantage of the situation and said that he felt sorry for her. He said why she wouldn't take a divorce, and why would she spend the rest of her life in misery. Well, the man also said that why would you live with someone you don't love? She explained that how can I take a divorce and end this relationship after years of marriage? Jassim said, the reason you should, and this was his chance to shine, that the reason was that he liked her and that he would marry her. It was like, I like you and I will marry you. Now, after days had gone by, Siham gave a call to Jassim and asked if he would help her to file a case of divorce, and if he knew a good lawyer for the same. He, with downright enthusiasm, helped got the paperwork done and completed, and it took him 2 to 3 days to arrange, and after the first and the second session in the court, the judge refused to grant the divorce. Here she went back to her parents' house. When her husband Hamid was asked the reason of divorce in the court, Hamid was somewhat demented that on what basis did she wanted to get a divorce. He remarked that they had no difficulties in their relationship. The only issue was that she wanted a separate house and was not willing to live with his mother. And he also said that he refused to do so. The judge rejected, claiming that marriage is not a child's play. Neither it is a subject of mood when you decide to leave or stay. Now, there should be reasons like domestic violence, financial conflicts, affairs. Not a mere misunderstanding or mood swing can change a whole subject and lead a person to divorce, especially if they have children. Siham's status at this point was that she was in a feeling of intense anger and rage. She got in contact with Jassim and asked him if he really liked her and wanted to marry her if she gets rid of her husband. He said he would do the impossible. She asked him to do the same, as she said that he would take a divorce from his wife. Siham wanted Jassim to get rid of her husband, and in any possible way, even if he meant murder. He made it clear that he couldn't complete this task, but he could find someone else to do it for him. And most probably he knows someone who could do this job, and they can easily get married. Now, he knew one of the parents and was quite familiar of him. He also had some specific details on this guardian. He knew that the brother of this guardian was killed by ISIS, and that his brother was in the military. They didn't find the killer, and he didn't know who the killer was exactly, but he was very eager to get his hands on him. ISIS is a group which has been designated as a terrorist organization by the UN. They are responsible for committing massive human rights abuses and war crimes and war against humanity all over the world. The man here, or the guardian, Hamid, was searching for the criminal who killed his innocent brother. Jassim utilized this urge that he had, this guardian, to find the culprit. He had this urge, and the culprit was from ISIS. So he said to him that, you know what, I want you to pay me a visit and come over to my house, and I want to discuss a very important topic. Later, Hamid, the parent here, visited or paid a visit to the principal's house. Jassim served and welcomed him. And he was asked by Hamid that if everything was fine. Here Jassim replied that he wanted to help him. He said that I know a person from ISIS who killed your brother. Hamid was shocked and asked if he was sure, and that he was eager to take the revenge. Well, Jassim asked him to calm down and explained upon being inquired that how did he know all the information. He replied, Hamid works in a department of ration. He works privately, secretly, and his wife, who is the cousin of Jassim, notified him and told him the whole story. Well, the whole story would be that Hamid here, the husband of the school principal, is involved with ISIS, and he's the one who killed. Hamid knew that who was the killer. The only thing he thought and he could do was straight away go and kill him. But Jassim had a completely different thought of how things could be dealt. In his point of view, he said, "Why would you expose yourself if you can do it silently?" He said that what he meant was he could pay whatever it takes in advance and the rest after accomplishing the task. And he said, "I'll see what I can do." Now Hamid was curious to know why Jassim was more excited and interested than he was. And what benefit will he get from Hamid's death? He replied or explained that his aim or their aim was one. This guy ruined his life, like Jassim wanted to marry his cousin. And that's why he's holding a grudge against him. After he left, he got in contact with Jassim just 2 days after he decided that how he'll assassinate Hamid and asked for $14,000. Well, they did agree on $14,000 and $4,000 would be given to him or dispatched before the work would have been done and $10,000 after he would finish. His plan was that he would buy a motorbike and a weapon. Now, as motorbike compared to other vehicles was easier to ride and escape on while committing a murder or shooting, and this had occurred a lot. Now, getting back to our story. Hamid started searching for someone in his family and close friends who knew how to ride a bike and he would rely on them. So he found a young man from his close family members and said that I would take you and buy you the best bike ever, whatever you like. Now the young man asked that what was the occasion, as he was immensely delighted. He clarified that he was planning to kill someone, a person who took the life of his brother, a military officer, defending the homeland, and that this person was from ISIS. He said, "Are you sure you want to kill him?" He said, "Yes, this person killed my brother who was defending the country." So they took it as a national duty here. And they agreed upon it. Well, after agreeing on the plan, they went and bought the bike and registered it in the name of the young man. The man said, "Hamid, that give me a call whenever you want and whenever you're ready to carry out the crime." Eventually, Hamid and Jassim, who was the principal of the school, was there to guide him to the location of Hamid. He thought that this was the right time. He gave him the location in which branch of the food supply department he could find him. Hamid went to Hamid, the husband of Siham, in his workplace to know him more, to know his facial features and make sure to identify him personally before he could kill him or make a mistake of killing someone else. Hamid met him and said that a person who knows you well assigned me to you and claimed that you can help me with some paperwork. Well, he was acting as if he has come by someone's side to finish his work. And he said that he had some paperwork required by the ration department. Hamid just rose up and immediately took the papers and went to finish them. He was being very helpful. After meeting him the second day, they agreed on Jassim keeping in touch with Siham and informing him when Hamid leaves the house. Hamid was carrying a weapon and the man was riding the bike, and they were anxiously waiting for Hamid to arrive as Jassim said, "Your brother's murderer has left for the specific place." They started chasing him, making sure that they were chasing the right man. They stopped near the traffic light alongside of Hamid's car, and most criminals use the traffic to carry out assassinations, which all the cars are parked and are steady. And why they use motorbikes again is to the cause that they can get away easily and it's hard to chase them from any other side. Now, after stopping, Hamid got down the bike, went towards Hamid, and emptied the bullets on him, making sure that he died, and rode away. He rode away from the scene as fast as he could. The reason was that, of course, they don't want anyone to recognize them. The surveillance camera filmed the crime scene and the motorbike, and that there were two men involved. But who were these two men? No one knew. Police here attended the place where the incident took place, and the body was taken for crime scene procedure. During investigation, the first and foremost question, who could have killed him and with what motive? They summoned his wife and notified her that her husband died and was killed. Of course, she started sobbing, weeping, and screaming, acting as if she was in grief and sorrow. The investigators, after showing their sympathy to Siham, asked if she suspected someone or anyone. She claimed that he was a warm-hearted, good, generous, and kind person. Well, that's why they were surprised that everyone at his work and family and neighbors during the investigation were praising Hamid for his humble, thoughtful, and generous character, and were like as if he had no enemies whatsoever. After further interrogation and questioning, his mother, the mother saying, "May God have mercy on him," and that her son had a heart filled with love for everyone, including her and his wife, even though she was angry and there were a few problems, but still he was there to handle these situations and never let anyone down. After 9 months had been passed by, they couldn't find who the killer was. 9 months, and finally Siham, the school's principal, got married to Jassim, who organized and planned the assassination of her husband. Later, she found out that she got rid of her husband forever. But this man, Jassim, who promised to give divorce to his wife and who did show that he got the papers of divorce and he was done with it, was actually lying. The proof, the paper he got were forged, and he was caught for his deceitfulness. They got into a fight after he reclined. She was angry and furious, and she ran to the police station after being beaten and insulted by Jassim. While she was complaining, one of the policemen recognized her. He asked her, "Aren't you the wife of the man who was executed by the men on the street on a motorbike?" And he also said in a specific way, before 9 months. She replied yes. Here the man thought that it was a bit weird that a man who died and not a natural death, he was executed in his car brutally, and that the killer was not found yet, killer and the one riding the motorbike. And how would she just go on with this? How would she just complete her life and easily get on with this? He opened the case again and started searching and going through papers, looking for more evidence. He was smart enough to just recognize that maybe there's something missing here. He summoned her again and asked her if she suspected anyone and could have killed her husband. She swore to God and she said, "No, I don't suspect anyone." He also interrogated when did she get married after the death of her husband. She said it was just a few days ago. He said, "It was a few days ago and you disagreed just a few days ago, just after your marriage, and you got beaten and you came to the police station?" She explained that the reason was that this man said that he would divorce his wife, and he didn't. He didn't do as he promised, and that was the reason of their fight. Then he also asked that how was their relationship? How long they have been together, or they knew each other. She said she was a school principal and he too was, and they met in a school meeting. On that basis, after her husband died, he proposed her. They took her telephone number as well as her new husband, Jassim's mobile number. They said that we have to inquire about these numbers. They took the numbers, and if they found out if there were any previous contacts between them. The calamity and disaster was that there were dozens of contacts between them before her husband's murder. It was clear that it was previously planned murder just after knowing that they were actually in contact and they knew each other. Now, they discovered another number on Jassim's mobile, and once again, several calls were on the same day when Hamid was killed, let me remind you. The second number was of the guardian or the parent, who upon that time he arrived to the police station, and he denied. He also denied that he didn't know who Jassim was. But later, after them explaining that we found these numbers, they also found another number. The other number was the person, the young man, who was involved and who was the one who was riding the motorbike. So they summoned him to the police station. As soon as this other person arrived, he was actually riding the motorbike, and after checking the motorbike, upon knowing that the motorbike was the same bike which was there on the cameras, both the men confessed that they did kill Hamid. Well, they also said the reason here we killed him was because, again, he said, my brother was a soldier who was protecting the country, and this man who I killed was actually the one who killed my brother. He was from the ISIS. They did ask him that what is the proof that he's from ISIS? Well, he said that Jassim here was kind enough to tell me that this man, who is the husband of his cousin, was from this gang, and he was the one who killed, and he was the one working in the ration department, but he secretly worked for ISIS. They said, he said you these words and you believed him. You didn't make sure that this person was exactly the person you killed. You didn't come and complain, but you took the revenge, and you thought this was the right thing to do. The investigators said that Hamid has always been a good civilian, person, of a well-known person with a very good moral character, and his records are clear. He doesn't has anything against him, and never has anyone filed even a single case on him. So Jassim said you believed. He said yes, Jassim wanted to marry his cousin. Here they said that which cousin? They said, which cousin? He said the school principal, Siham. He said, well, the school principal, Siham, firstly, is not the cousin of Jassim. And secondly, Hamid, may God have mercy on him, was not involved in any such thing. He is not from ISIS. Here, of course, he felt the guilt and was in shock that how could he be fooled in such a way. Hamid here was in a state of shock and confusion, but he did confess that he murdered him, and he did confess that he took $14,000 which were given by Siham, but he had taken from Jassim, and bought a bike and a weapon, explained how he got rid or killed Hamid. Siham knew that everything was over. She collapsed and confessed everything. Hamid was sentenced to death. As for Siham and Jassim, they were sentenced to 25 years in prison. The man on the bike took a penalty of 15 years. And that's how the crime story ended. I would like to end this crime story with a quote by Bill James. Crime stories show us the part of people's life they try to keep hidden. I hope you enjoyed. Please do not forget to subscribe, and thank you for listening.